Definitely hard going into it, knowing that people might not have faith in you, might not think that you can do it. I've really had to work to overcome that misconception, those stereotypes. I've had a lot of coaches who kind of said to me, like, we can't really take you on as an athlete because of your impairment. You can't do the same things as your teammates. It's holding the team back. I've been called a liability. Because I really want to advocate that I am capable of doing this. My friends who have impairments are capable of doing this. It doesn't mean that we just have to be recreational athletes. We can compete at a varsity level. We can be competitive and win races.
With sweeping, you have to be a lot more put a lot more emphasis on things than you would sculling. If you're at a U23 senior level, you can start being a little bit more strategic in how you place the blade. And I can say that with trusting that you're not gonna pull like a U19, U17 and just. The steering is primarily like a timing and like a tech problem. We'll figure it out.
I'm Mia Biancanello. I'm from St Catharines, Ontario. I've been rowing for about 6 years now. I row for Brock's team and I row for the St Catharines Rowing Club. I was born with a genetic condition called oculocutaneous albinism. It affects the pigment and the melanin in your skin, which plays a big role in the development of your eyes. And so because I have that kind of delay in pigment, my eyes did not develop correctly, and hence I am visually impaired. So my vision has affected me my whole life. I have depth perception issues. I have very big fatigue. I had a hard time seeing the ball when I was playing soccer, following along in a dance class, and so I was kind of looking for something new to keep me active, and one of my neighbors was very into rowing at the time, so I did like a learn to row camp and I just loved it. So when I transitioned from elementary school to high school, I signed up for my high school's rowing team, and I just have been going ever since. I've enjoyed it so much. This team has been really good. I've had really good experiences with my coach, Liz Iannese. Probably the reason why I've stayed in the sport is because I've had her support for so long from a coaching perspective. She's always been willing to put me in a successful spot, push me to my limit, just like she would any of her other athletes. When I started rowing, I looked for athletes who were like me, who had similar impairments, because they don't advertise that the same way they advertise other athletes that most people look up to in their sport. One of the first ones that I really did look up to was Victoria Nolan. So she's another visually impaired athlete. I've always looked up to her from like a bystander point because of how she's persevered in the sport and pushed herself even through vision loss. I was able to see a lot of the things I've gone through her, and that was really nice. And she's just a great person. When I've talked to her, she's so kind and so willing to give support.
What I love about rowing is that in my everyday life, I walk around very careful and nervous. Everything I do is slow because I'm afraid of getting hurt. When I get in the boat, all of a sudden I have that freedom. I don't have to worry about where I'm going. There's someone else steering the boat. I can go as fast as I possibly can, and it's just so exhilarating. You feel like you're flying. One of my fondest memories was rowing here in St Catharines at the Royal Henley Regatta. It was Canada versus the US, and my husband actually brought a whole school bus of people down from Toronto to come and watch the race. So the stands, it was packed. All of my friends and family were there. As we were racing, you could hear the whole crowd. It was just a great race. Ended up coming down to a photo finish. We had to sit there and wait for the results. The US beat us by like 1/100th of a second, so it was a pretty amazing experience. Regardless of what you're racing for, it's about your own efforts and your own goals outside of, what the external result might be. You can't have your goal being something that you have no control over, because you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. When you're setting a goal, part of it has to be something you're in control of. So whether it's making sure that you push yourself as far as you possibly can, whether it's, really working on nailing those technical aspects of the race, whatever it is that at the end of the day, you can say you did it, so that you can feel proud no matter what the result is.
From an athletic standpoint, I'm trying to prepare myself for my university season, hoping to be the fittest I can be for our training camp and selection process. From an advocacy standpoint, I'm trying to just implement more para races where I can. I'm trying to advocate for para athletes to be included. So for me right now, my goal is our Ontario University Championships. I'm trying to make sure that we have an event for para athletes, that our race is set up and accommodating. I'm also trying to get that at our national championship, have that population show up and show that we can be competitive and we can hard like this.
Adulthood is full of surprises, maybe too full of surprises. That's why CAA Niagara has reliable insurance plans. Be ready for the unexpected expenses with home, auto, life, travel, and pet insurance plans. Plus, CAA members get exclusive pricing on all of our plans. Because adulting is hard, but CAA Niagara makes it easy. Click today for your free online quote.
At Genesis Niagara, the most important feature in every Genesis is you. Designed with the simple idea that the experience of owning your Genesis should be as exceptional as the vehicle itself. It's about valuing your time, respecting your lifestyle, and making things effortless, and building a relationship based on trust. Genesis Niagara, serving Hamilton, Niagara, where you are at the center of everything we do.
Team Canada and Pilotary Estates Winery unite with a perfect pairing of tradition and excellence. Deeply rooted in pride, respect, and the pursuit of greatness. Celebrate the Olympic spirit with every toast.
When you're purchasing swimwear from the Salty Bikini, you're getting beauty, confidence, and the latest in swimwear fashion. Every woman deserves to feel like a goddess in her swimsuit. Say goodbye to stress and hello to confidence as you shop with us. The Salty Bikini is proud to be a platinum sponsor of the 2024 World Rowing Championships. Good luck to all the competitors. Come see us in-store at the Salty Bikini. We're located in the Ridley Heights Plaza in St Catharines, Ontario, or visit us online at thesaltybikini.ca.
Welcome to White Meadows Farms. Join our Discover Maple Sugar Bush tour and explore the world of maple syrup. Meet our expert guide and discover traditions that have thrived for centuries. Hop aboard a tractor-drawn wagon and journey to the heart of our forest. Indulge in legendary treats like taffy on snow and experience our 100% pure maple syrup. Finish with a maple syrup tasting and see how we elevate maple beyond the breakfast table. Book your experience today and discover everything Canadian maple.
The universe does it with a big bang. Wonderful pistachios. Get cracking.
The fruit of our labor has been feeding families for generations. Support local. Look for the Foodland Ontario logo in stores and put Ontario-grown fruit in your basket all summer long.
Niagara College programs immerse students with a highly experiential learning environment enhanced by digital technologies. We place students at the center of all that we do. We are Niagara College.
Dans le couloir numéro 1, nous avons Hong Kong, Chine. Dans le couloir numéro 2, nous avons les États-Unis. Dans le couloir numéro 3, le Japon. Dans le couloir numéro 4, l'Argentine. Dans le couloir numéro 5, le Canada. Dans le couloir numéro 6, la Belgique.
So they are underway. Hong Kong, China, USA, Japan, Argentina, Canada and Belgium. 2,000 meters to go before we discover which one of these boats will qualify automatically for Friday afternoon's AB semi-final. The remaining crews will go again tomorrow afternoon in the repechage for a second chance to qualify for that final. It's the same for all these four heats. Take a look out in particular for lane 1, Hong Kong, China, Hin Chun Chu, who won the World Cup 2 in Lucerne earlier on this year. We'll see what sort of start he's got off to in a minute. In fact, it's the Japan athlete who's just got off to the slightly quicker start there in that centre lane. So early stages gone, just about 300 metres gone, and everyone's off to a really good start and keeping pace with the leader.
Et voilà, la course a commencé. En avance, on a Hong Kong, Chine qui est en avance. Et on espère que la course va continuer. Très bien.
Merci, Mike. So coming up to 400-meter mark, and it's still Japanese Nishimura just leading the pack here, but they're still fairly tightly formed. He's rating at around 36 strokes a minute. The highest rate on there is coming from the athlete from Hong Kong, China, Chu, who's been up at 42, but maybe just beginning now to settle down into his racing rate. So the splits at the 500 meters, it's the Japanese athlete just ahead of Melvin of the USA, who's right alongside Colpart of Belgium. Harris of Canada not far behind them, with the Argentine Pedro Dixon alongside, and then Chu of Hong Kong, China, in fact, who's just fallen back a bit. But so as they get up through 600 meters, let's throw over and get the latest from Andrea.
Well, thank you so much for that. Yes, exciting racing here to heat up the afternoon. This is a lightweight event, and what that means is that all of these athletes will have weighed in 2 hours before racing at 72.5 kilos. Certainly is a different race than heavyweight. Because the field is so close together, you have to be much more technically proficient. This is also, Susan, a singles race as well. It's just you in the boat. Tell us a little bit about what that means.
It is all up to you. You are steering the boat yourself. You are your own captain. You don't have perhaps the encouragement of someone behind you or in front of you. It is a solitary race that one really has to admire. And sometimes when those distances spread out, it has to be hard to keep your courage going to give your very best. So these athletes are amazing people.
Yes, absolutely. Very well said. You versus yourself. And as Stephen Harris follows through at about 4th place position here, USA continuing to lead since we gave him some lip service in the break, a little bit more for the fans and the crowd. He is our reigning national champion in lightweight men's single, comes from a rowing family as well, but here to write his own story. And my mouth fell open a little bit at the start, seeing him up at 50 strokes per minute. Wow, that would have been a goal of mine. So here we come through the middle part of the race. Sue, this is where the lactic acid starts to set in. Maybe not unfair to say that there's quite a lot of pain going on right now.
Absolutely. I remember even in just my recreational rowing experiences, this is where you want to quit. You don't think you can do it anymore, despite how much training you've had.
Right, your body says you can't, your head says you must. And right now, Canada in a tussle for Hong Kong, China, USA continuing to lead. We can see that ripple across the water. These single sculls are much more susceptible to the wind conditions, so they have to be very technically proficient as they come down the course. Right now at 1,300 meters gone, so you're right in the middle of the pain. You have your hard hat on and you are going to work. In a little bit of time, we're going to see the athletes start to turn the dial a little bit more, give more to get the same, but let us reset what the stakes are. First goes through to semifinal A, B, and right now it is the American, Samuel Melvin, firmly anchored at the front of this flying V, this chevron coming down the course, this battle of the blades. Beautiful look there at the back of the unisuit. So in rowing, for those friends and families in the grandstand that haven't seen very many rowing races before, we wear this spandex outfits not only because they are incredibly fashionable, but because it helps us with our hands. As you can see, Stephen Harris there bringing his hands right into his body. Of course, if you'd had pockets, that would be a very wet trip down the course and you fall out of your boat. So we need to have nice and slim fit outfits. Continues to be USA leading, and if you're in the grandstands now, well, you can cast your gaze because they are coming into view. Of course, we have those beautiful grandstands photos here, so you can take a look at how the athletes are coming. So in conditions like this, a little bit choppy, so you might see some athletes shorten up their stroke. USA athlete not using all of his slide, but he is exactly where he needs to be, a 40-meter distance between him. He was not leaving anything to chance. So what are the rest of the athletes racing for here, Sue?
Obviously, they want to be able to head off to the repechage and do their very best there. I believe that I'm sorry, I'm misreading this here.
Not to worry. No, the rest of them are racing for seated lanes. So even if you don't go first through, you are racing for the opportunity to get into those coveted center lanes. All right, a little bit of noise here to warm up the water as the athletes come. It is definitely Samuel Melvin right at the front, a time zone between him and the rest of the team as he comes across the bubble line. There he goes. He has punched his ticket to semifinal AB, and there's a three-way race here for third. Coming across second in the blue boat on the far side. I do believe that is, oh, pardon me, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Here they come across the line, waiting for our results here. As I squint across, and a big cheer for Canada as Stephen Harris comes across the line as well. This won't be the last time we see any of these athletes. Rob, they will have another opportunity to race again in the repechage. Just waiting for our results.
I will indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Andrea. Yeah, super performance from Melvin of USA, winning by a margin of 12.5 seconds there or thereabouts ahead of Colpart of Belgium in second, Chu of Hong Kong, China in third. Then it was Dixon of Argentina, Nishimura of Japan, and Harris of Canada. So all of those, apart from Melvin, will contest tomorrow morning's repechage, but we'll see Samuel Melvin in the semi-finals on Friday morning.
Voici les résultats de cette course. En première position, les États-Unis. En deuxième position, on a la Belgique. En troisième position, Hong Kong. En quatrième position, on a l'Argentine. En cinquième position, le Japon. Et en sixième position, le Canada. Et juste pour que tout le monde comprenne, le gagnant de la course va directement dans les finales. Les autres vont retomber dans une autre course qui s'appelle le repêchage.
So let's move on to Heat 2 then of the lightweight men's single sculls with Peru's Lucas Saman Hernandez in lane 1. Niels Torre of Italy is in lane 2 with Gait Kadri of Tunisia in lane 3. In lane 4 representing Uruguay, Felipe Cluver Ferreira, and for France in lane 5, Baptiste Savayette.
Dans la deuxième finale, ou je devrais dire dans la deuxième élimination, on a pour les hommes skiff poids léger. On a dans le couloir numéro 1 le Pérou, dans le couloir numéro 2 l'Italie, dans le couloir numéro 3 la Tunisie, dans le couloir numéro 4 l'Uruguay et dans le couloir numéro 5 la France.
So same progression as before. It's the winner who will make direct progress into that AB semi-final on Friday morning. The lead at the moment is held by Niels Torre of Italy. In fact, he's beginning to open up quite a lead through 1,500 meters ahead of the chasing pack. 8.5 seconds back to Cluver Ferreira of Uruguay. Andrea, not far to go in this race, but it looks like the Italian has really laid down a marker here.
Yes, Andiamo, the Italian, definitely in the lead here. And this is where we see a little bit of war games being played. Again, there's just one coveted seat through to semifinal A, B. And so when you have these commanding margins, like 12 seconds, we sometimes will see that other athletes will choose to maybe just take the edge off a little bit, focus on going through mentally their race plan, letting their bodies get warmed up, dusting off the, the shell, as it were, and coming down with a solid performance, but not necessarily killing themselves to get to the finish line second.
Exactly. You can understand that, again, there's the semifinals that one to get through to the semifinals, but they do have some choices for seats in coming up in the repechage, and they have a good second try again, and they know their competition.
Yes, and you get to see some of the race styles evolve through here. And as we come into these red buoys, well, the Italian is not leaving anything to chance, bringing his rate of striking up. Look at those nice long strokes. He's really giving it his all as he comes towards the finish line. Up and through, it is going to be Italia coming through the line first. That was Niels Torre, very well run race. He'll be very pleased with that. We'll cast our gaze back to the rest of the crew. We'll talk a lot about these red buoys in front of you. Well, for the rest of the race, those buoys are yellow, but when you get into the last 250 meters, they turn red, and every athlete knows red means dead, running out of real estate. But not running out of real estate on the far side there is the rest of the crews coming across. We'll wait for the final one to come through here. A little applause for them, please, they're out here for your entertainment. And we'll cast it back to Rob to give us. And that was a phenomenal time, that Italian. I have to say, Rob, before you give us the results, a world's best time in blistering conditions.
6:39.56. It's certainly up there or thereabouts. Really impressive from Niels Torre. Taking that race by 17.25 seconds from Kluwer Ferreira of Uruguay in second, Francis Savet in third, Kadri of Tunisia in fourth, and Salman Hernandez of Peru in fifth. But as you said, that's Niels Torre who goes through directly to the AB semi-final on Friday morning.
En première place, avec un temps record, l'Italie. En deuxième place, nous avons l'Uruguay. En troisième place, la France. En quatrième place, la Tunisie. Et en cinquième place, le Pérou.
Yeah, it was indeed a world's best time. You're absolutely right, Andrea. That hasn't flagged up yet, but I'm sure it will. So heat 3 of the lightweight men's single sculls. Sid Ali Boudina of Algeria is in lane 1, alongside Julian Scherbel of Austria in lane 2, Antonios Papakonstantinou of Greece in lane 3, Paul Leerkamp of Germany in lane 4, and Murray Bale-Smith of South Africa, lane 5.
Et voici la troisième élimination des hommes skiff poids léger. Dans le couloir numéro 1, nous avons l'Algérie. Dans le couloir numéro 2, l'Autriche. Dans le couloir numéro 3, la Grèce. Dans le couloir numéro 4, l'Allemagne. Dans le couloir numéro 5, l'Afrique du Sud.
So coming up to 1,400 meters now, Andrea, and it looks like Scherbel of Austria has got control of this.
Certainly does, and such a multinational field it is here. We have to give credit to these athletes who are flying in from across the world. It's not just as easy as getting on a plane soon or showing up. You also have to do time zone acclimatization. You have to familiarize yourself with the local conditions as well. Maybe even which brand of maple syrup.
The very best kind is the clear, light color, just so you know.
You heard it here first from a Canadian, but back to the matter at hand. Well, it is Austria. Look at the pain on the face of the athlete, Julian Scherbel. He is just giving it his all, and he's got about a 5-second lead on the rest of the crews to show for it. They're coming now here through to about 400 meters left. This is a tighter race than what we've seen before, but the stakes remain the same, so only one through to semi-final A, B, the rest of them going through to the repechage. We learned something, Suze, about what the term repechage originates from.
It does. Pêcher, in French, is to fish, and you pull out, repêche.
the best, the better times, the better fish to go on to have a second chance of being in the finals.
We will see those fish in the repechage when they come through, and we will serve them up in an A final at the end of all of this in the men's lightweight men's single. We did talk about what it means to be a lightweight rower. You have to be incredibly fit. You have to weigh in 2 hours before, and what that means is we're going to see tighter finishes as we're seeing right now. Austria continuing to lead here, but right on his tail is Algeria. Sid Ali Boudina looks like he was trying to make a push at the Australian, but the Austrian, I will get in trouble for that one, but the Austrian continuing to lead here. A look to either side. He's in that coveted inside lane, meaning that he has the best view, and the view that he has right now is one of dominance. He will get his bow bell across the line very first here. Running second, well, that is Algeria. Third is Germany. And fourth is Greece, with South Africa, Republic of South Africa, rounding out this crew.
Thank you very much indeed. Yes, Julian Schöbel of Austria, the clear winner there. Margin of 2.52 seconds ahead of Boudina of Algeria in second. Leerkamp of Germany in third. So all but Schöbel will contest the repechage tomorrow afternoon. Schöbel will be into the AB semi-final on Friday morning.
Voici les résultats de la troisième élimination. On a en première position l'Autriche, en deuxième position l'Algérie, en troisième position l'Allemagne, en quatrième position la Grèce et en cinquième position l'Afrique du Sud.
So to the fourth and final heat of the lightweight men's single sculls. Alexis Lopez Garcia of Mexico in lane 1. For Finland in lane 2, Kasper Hervilampi. In lane 3, representing Palestine, is Amal Younis. For Norway in lane 4, Oscar Sørdal. And in lane 5 from Ireland, all the way from Paris, having defended his Olympic gold in the lightweight men's double, it is, of course, Paul O'Donovan.
Et voici dans la dernière élimination des hommes skiff poids léger. Nous avons dans le couloir numéro 1 le Mexique, dans le couloir numéro 2 la Finlande, dans le couloir numéro 3 la Palestine, dans le couloir numéro 4 la Norvège, dans le couloir numéro 5 l'Irlande.
So they're making good progress. They're almost at 1,600 meters. The leader is Paul O'Donovan, who I have to say, I'm slightly sad to say, Andrea, that he has got rid of that spectacular beard that he had in Tokyo. He's now almost unrecognizable, clean shaven.
You almost wonder if he had to make weight. Whatever he's done, it's worked for him. Such a great opportunity to see. You are witnessing the very last lightweight Olympic champion on the water, with lightweight being removed from the Olympic programming. Ireland had a great showing at the Olympics, going with their largest crew that they've ever gone with, and this is certainly a force to be reckoned with. Paul O'Donovan has been on the scene for quite some time. He will have been very familiar with all of these conditions and how to row them and how to change technically to adapt to them. Athlete from Mexico, Alexis Lopez Garcia, tried to give it his best there, holding on through the 1,000 meters, but then just fell to the dominance of Paul O'Donovan. Now well in that red buoy in his final sprint, in the lead. Mexico running third by quite a margin, about 70 meters between him and the next boat. That would be Norway. Paul O'Donovan coming through nice and close to the grandstands just to hear your cheers as he comes through. So make sure that you let him know how pleased we are that he is here on Canadian water, crossing the bubble line first. A commanding victory here. Mexico running second. That was exciting to see Olympic quality in St. Catharines, isn't it?
It really, really is. It's rare for us to be able to, here in St. Catharines, to be able to see Olympians, because rowing is shared all around the world. And we have to take our turn.
As said, Ireland first, Mexico second. We're going to have Norway running third. And as we wait for Finland to come across the line here, you're in a great spread of nations. And there we are. That runs out our field as Paul O'Donovan throws his fist up to the enthusiastic crowd. Thank you so much for showing up today. Lots of flags in the crowd there, Rob.
Yeah, it's great, and they're making a lot of noise, and we like to see that as well. We've got crowds on the finished tower side as well, lining the banks and up in the grandstand there. It's a really good atmosphere building here, but Paul O'Donovan across the line first, makes it through to the AB semi-finals. We'll see him again on Friday morning. The remaining crews in the repechage tomorrow afternoon.
Minutes.
We now move back to the under-23s, and it's two heats of the lightweight women's double sculls. The lineup sees Ireland in lane 1, France in lane 2, Mexico in lane 3, Italy in 4, and Japan lane 5.
Et voici dans la première élimination des femmes, 2 de couple moins de 23 ans. Dans le couloir numéro 1, nous avons l'Irlande. Dans le couloir numéro 2, la France. Dans le couloir numéro 3, le Mexique. Dans le couloir numéro 4, l'Italie. Et dans le couloir numéro 5, le Japon.
So they're just coming up to the 1,000-meter split. It was going the way of France, Italy, Ireland, all very closely bunched, with Japan pretty much alongside them as well. And in fact, Italy and France have both crossed the halfway point, absolutely bow ball to bow ball. Ireland keeping with them. Japan perhaps just slipping back a little bit now, with Mexico further back. But what is interesting about this lineup, I think, Andrea, is that 4 out of the 5 nations in these boats have the tricolour. That's the three-colored flag.
Oh, thank you. You saw my look of confusion here as I ran through my mind palace trying to figure out what that. Always can count on you for the fun facts.
Oh, sure.
Right you are, and I've been immersed watching the GPS flip back and forth meter to meter between Italy and France, and having just come back from watching the Paris Olympics. Susan, I know exactly what is being said in the grandstands, and that is...
Allons-y le bleu!
There you go. She says it much better than I do. Yes, allons-y le bleu indeed. It continues to be France and Italy going neck and neck. Italy now with a little bit of a gain on the French team. Looks like half a boat length. And this is really where you need to hold your nerve. Your stroke for stroke, bow ball for bow ball through. Now, in this race, 1 and 2 go to final A together. So it seems that France and Italy have decided who they would like those two teams to be. So let's take a look back at the rest of the field. It looks like Ireland is the boat that is running third, although perhaps by a sizable margin as France continues to give more ground to Italy as the Italian boat surges ahead. Ireland has a lot of work to make up here. So 1,500 meters, we're 500 meters to go, last quarter of the race. That means that the athletes are going to start to turn the dial slightly, increase your rate of striking, firm up the strokes a little bit more, because what happens to those yellow buoys in the last 250 meters?
You run out of real estate.
Yeah, so those buoys will turn red, and the amount of strokes that you have to get across the line are going to run out. Taking a look at our GPS, Italy continues to extend their lead, but they haven't managed to shake France. However, they have pushed away from Ireland. Again, 1 and 2 get to go straight to the A final. That's a medal round. Everyone else through to the repechage. Look at that synchronicity in that Italian crew, hands moving in and out of the finish together, concentration on the faces of the athletes. The stroke seat, so the person who's going to finish across the line second is leading. Ooh, a little bit of a wobble there from the Irish combination. The stroke seat is going to be setting the rhythm. They are going to be deciding what the rate of striking is going to be right now. Italy up at a 37. We tend to see very strong sprints from both the Italian and Irish crews. And Ireland is about 27 meters back right now. They're going to have to go and do something stupendous if they would like to meet that. Starting to eat into the France's lead, but it continues to be Italy. Italia having their espresso this morning in the lead. Ireland just running out of real estate. And let's have a cheer for the French here, Susan. How does it go?
Allons-y le bleu.
Yes, indeed. They're going to go straight to the A medal round. Phenomenal sprint by that Irish combination. It will be Italy first, France second, Ireland running third, and let's cheer the rest of the crews across the course here. We still have Mexico and Japan rounding out our field of 5 boats.
Voici les résultats pour les moins 23 ans en femmes, 2 de couple, poids léger. En premier, l'Italie avec une course excellente, suivie par la France en 2e place, puis 3e, l'Irlande, 4e, le Japon et le Mexique, 5e. Alors, l'Italie et la France vont au final A. Les autres vont au repêchage.
Yes, again, Italy, France, Ireland third, Japan fourth, and Mexico running fifth. More lightweight women's U23 doubles coming up.
Heat 2, then, of the under-23 lightweight women's double sculls sees Greece going in lane 1. Guatemala take up lane 2. It's Germany in lane 3 and Switzerland in lane 4.
Voici la deuxième élimination. Femmes 2 de couple, moins de 23 ans. Dans le couloir numéro 1, la Grèce. Dans le couloir numéro 2, Guatemala. Dans le couloir numéro 3, l'Allemagne. Dans le couloir numéro 4, la Suisse.
So I think we've got another Olympian here in the Greek boat in the bow seat, Dimitra Kontou, who won bronze in Paris. And it looks like her and her partner in the boat, Evangelia Anastasiadou, are doing well here through 1,200 meters. They're leading out the rest of the pack here, Andrea.
They certainly are at that. The Greek combination well in the lead on the rest of the field. Again, though, it's 1 and 2 through to final A. Next closest boat, well, they're duking it out between Germany and the Swiss. We'll probably hear some cowbells as we get closer to that finish line. These shell shoes are very small, right? They're made out of carbon fiber. They're designed to be as light as possible, only 60 pounds light. Why is it important that we're rowing carbon fiber instead of wooden boats?
First of all, they're much, much lighter and sleeker. And they're a joy to row in as compared to the old-fashioned wooden boats, that's for sure. And there are some amazing boat makers around the world that vie at producing some of the best carbon fiber shells around. And they are called shells, not boats like some other folks sometimes do.
Right, you are. And here come the shells right now. Greece anchored at the front, still leading the pack here. But I just heard the cowbells. Thank you very much. Right on point. And that's because Germany and Switzerland are still fighting neck and neck, only about 3 meters between the two boats. So that's just a couple strokes, maybe half of a deck between the two. And we are coming into the closing stages. So right here, this is where the questions really start coming, and your answer has to be a resounding, yes, I can. These athletes will have practiced their race plan time and time again. Their race plan is a couple of words that are either technical or mental. You break it down into about 250-meter chunks. So these combinations will know exactly what they need to do at this stage in the race. And look at how close that margin in. Germany absolutely not letting Switzerland go. They've been trading second and third spots, and again, only one of them straight through to final A. The pain on the face of the Swiss athletes. They're giving it their all. Rough conditions out here. You have to be very technical in the bumpy water as you get towards the finish and as your body starts to fatigue. But here it is. Greece coming through. No surprise, barring a nautical disaster, who's going to get through first. But in that all-important and second and third place position, it's really about who can decelerate the boat the least. And right now it is the cowbells working for Switzerland. Switzerland is pulling ahead of the German combination. They're just rowing the conditions so beautifully here. You can see how hard that this must be in the final closing stages to give your all. The lactic acid has built up, and it is Switzerland across the line with that coveted second spot. We'll see them straight through the A final. A valiant effort by the German combination. Gut gemacht, ladies. They gave it their all. Coming across to the third place and rounding us out will be Guatemala.
Félicitations maintenant pour le deuxième éliminatoire à la Grèce, qui ont gagné cette course. Et en deuxième, c'était les Suisses qui nous montraient un excellent effort. Troisième, l'Allemagne, et quatrième, le Guatemala. Alors, c'est la Grèce et la Suisse qui vont au final A et les autres vont au repêchage.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the grandstand, we promised fast conditions at a World Championships, and they have delivered. The last combination to have a World Championships best time was 6:50, and by Greece, they have done it again, setting another world's best time in a 6:41.48. Exciting stuff.
And beating their own record that they set in Plovdiv last year. Phenomenal stuff from the Greek boat. We now move on to the heats of the under-23 men's quad sculls. 3 heats here because we've got 15 crews entering this particular boat class. USA in lane 1, Switzerland in 2, Bulgaria in lane 3, Italy taking up lane 4 alongside New Zealand in lane 5.
Nous voici dans la course avec les hommes, 4 de coupe, moins de 23. On a 3 éliminatoires. L'éliminatoire numéro 1, on a les États-Unis. L'éliminatoire, dans le couloir numéro 2, la Suisse. Dans le couloir numéro 3, la Bulgarie. Dans le couloir numéro 4, l'Italie. Dans le couloir numéro 5, la Nouvelle-Zélande.
So this category, I think, Andrew, is going to be a pretty open field, and that's made clear here in this opening heat with the boats. Very little to separate them, certainly through 1,000 metres, just coming through the 1,500-metre splits now.
Right, you are. Very little to separate them indeed. And although these athletes during the warm-up probably won't know that we've had some record-breaking time set because they would have been focused in at the job at hand, they can feel how fast-moving the water is. Those of you in the grandstands, you can probably see how quickly the waves are skimming across the surface there. And so now the job is kind of surf or sink. You need to be technically proficient enough to get your boat up and running out of the water. Rowing is a game of drag, so the more the boat sinks into the water, the heavier it is. If you're dumping your weight into the finish, you need to keep those hands together. A little look out of two-seat there from the New Zealand crew. That was by Evan Williams to take a look where his crew are, but Italy is cemented at the front. Let's reset the stakes for you. 1 to 3 through to semifinal A, B, and they're already in the red buoys. Running at the front is Italy, and going with them, second place, Swiss. Listen for those cowbells. Third place right now is USA. The only person who could maybe challenge them is New Zealand. Do they have a sprint in their back pocket? Italy coming towards the line in the blue unisuit. Switzerland just to their left. This is going to be a tight one here. Don't blink before they cross the line. It is going to be Italy through first, Switzerland running second, and the USA running third. They will be joined by New Zealand running fourth, and Bulgaria fifth, the top 3 through to semifinal A, B.
Alors tout le monde, nous avons fini la première éliminatoire pour les moins de 23 ans, 4 couples hommes, et en première place c'était l'Italie. Deuxième, la Suisse. Troisième, les États-Unis. Quatrième, la Nouvelle-Zélande. Et cinquième, la Bulgarie. Alors, Italie, les Suisses et les États-Unis vont aux semi-finales A et B, et les autres vont au repêchage.
Just before we move to this next heat, I should just thank our DJ, Chad Bannister, who is playing all the sounds for this week here at St Catharines. We're very grateful to him. We'll see and hear more of him as the week unfolds. On to the racing. It's Heat 2 of the Under-23 men's quadruple sculls. Great Britain in lane 1, Lithuania in 2, Czechia in 3, Poland in lane 4, Germany lane 5.
Et voici dans l'élimination numéro 2, les hommes 4 de coupe, moins de 23. On est dans le couloir numéro 1, la Grande-Bretagne. Couloir numéro 2, la Lituanie. Dans le couloir numéro 3, la Tchéquie. Dans le couloir numéro 4, la Pologne. Dans le couloir numéro 5, l'Allemagne.
About 4.5 seconds separating these 5 crews at the 1,000-metre mark. They're coming up to 1,200 metres, and the boats up front are really very little to separate. Czechia, Poland, Germany, and then it's Lithuania and Great Britain. Where's your money on in this race, if you indeed are a betting sort of person?
I've seen some fantastic German sculling, so although they're running third right now, I'm going to keep my eye on the German combination. But Czechia right now drawing my gaze, anchored right at the front here. Quad is definitely a very technical boat to race. At the senior levels, we tend to see combinations staying together longer periods of time just because it really is a tough boat to podium in. So this is just, I think, poise meets power. I always love a quad. It's just such a fast-moving boat, and this is fast-moving water. So to get your blades locked on as the water is moving quickly underneath you takes a ton of technical abilities, and that's what's being demonstrated right now. Anyone that your money is on, Suze?
Well, I'm very excited just seeing how close this race is, and the conditions are challenging. I know, having done my bit of racing on this course, when you come to the 1500 meter, the mouth here of the back channel can change a little bit the feel of the water depending on how the wind goes. So I don't know if that's going to be a factor as into what lane you're in. I know with international rowing, of course, you want even chances for everyone, but the weather is the weather and conditions are the conditions.
We love it being an outdoor sport, and you make a great point, because what you did your pre-row in or what you trained in yesterday would be very different than these conditions on today. And they are going quickly, but not much has changed since we last checked in. Poland has decreased Czechia's lead, reeling them in slightly. Germany right there with them. The boats have bunched up into those top three positions going through to semifinal A, B. Lithuania and Great Britain falling off the pace a little bit, probably saving their reserves for the final sprint, but here they come, fast and furious. The job here is to stay upright and stay quick. These athletes are giving you a great race right to the finish here. It's not just to punch the tickets, it's for which seat and which lane you're going to be in. Czechia just barely holding on to their nose here as we come towards the finish line. Poland giving them a run for their money. Germany right there with Germany running third, Lithuania running fourth, and we will see Great Britain and Lithuania in the repêchage.
Voici les résultats pour le deuxième éliminatoire pour les moins 23 ans, 4 couples hommes. En premier, avec une course excellente, c'était la Tchéquie. Deuxième place, la Pologne, et en troisième, l'Allemagne. Ces trois équipes vont aux semi-finales A et B. En quatrième, c'était la Lituanie, et cinquième, la Grande-Bretagne.
And another World's Championship time from last year falls, going 5:43.17 at the last World Championships, then going 5:43.11. It is not a world's best time, but it does tell you how fast these conditions are.
Minutes.
So to the third and final heat of the under-23 men's quad sculls. Ireland taking up lane 1 alongside China in lane 2. Then it's France in lane 3, Chile in lane 4, Chinese Taipei lane 5.
Et la troisième élimination des hommes 4 de couple en dessous de 23. On est dans le couloir numéro 1, l'Irlande. Dans le couloir numéro 2, la République populaire de Chine. Dans le couloir numéro 3, la France. Dans le couloir numéro 4, le Chili. Dans le couloir numéro 5, le Taipei chinois.
Just two tricolores in this one. That's France and Ireland, and they're the two leading boats, certainly through the 1,000-metre mark. Coming up to 1,200, that's pretty much the way it is, with the People's Republic of China closing in third place. Right alongside them is Chile. Chinese Taipei, though, quite a long way back. But France and Ireland out in the lead, and it's that third semi-final place to be contested, probably between China and Chile, Andrea.
Yes, thank you, Rob. It has been rinse, lather, repeat since the start here. 500 to the 1,000 with France running first, Ireland second, China third. And for the uninitiated, Susan, there's 4 things that these athletes have to get right every single stroke they take.
Every single stroke. They have the catch, which is the beginning, oar into the water, the driving through the water, the finish where the oar is tucked up right against their chest, and then the recovery stroke, getting back to the beginning again. Very technical.
It certainly is, and then you have to do that with 3 of your friends going as fast as you can in a straight line backwards. Best of luck to you. France continues to lead, Ireland second, People's Republic of China third, but Chile have tightened up their distance between Ireland and themselves. Again, 1 to 3 through to semifinal A, B. In the boat here, you just saw a little shout by the stroke seat of Chile. He will likely be telling them to get a move on. We're running out of real estate. The stroke is setting the rhythm of the boat. The 2 people behind him are kind of like the engine rooms, and then in the bow, that is the person who typically will make the calls for their race plan, will make decisions about going left or right, a little bit more power on this one, and they'll be the person looking out of the boat. And Chile certainly did look out of the boat. The bows, or the stroke seat, that is Andoni Habesh Bahaz. He was yelling, and whatever he yelled, I need to know, because it worked. He has pulled up ahead of China. China now running into the 4th place. If they finish 4th, they will need to go through to the repechage. Here we come to the finish. 4 boats and only 3 spots between them. It continues to be France in the lead. Allons-y le bleu, as my co-commentator will say in a much better accent. Ireland coming along, and look on the far side. It is, in fact, China's caught a crab right at the finish line, but it was enough to get across. Pardon me, Chile. So excited. I forgot my countries. Chile caught a crab right at the finish line. Well, if there's a place to catch a crab, Susan, that is the place you want to do it. And China running 5th. I'll hand it over to Susan to give us results in French, but a great result here from Chinese Taipei. Please give them a great round of applause as they come through.
Félicitations pour la France qui sont les premières dans la 3e éliminatoire des 4 couples hommes pour les moins 23 ans. En 2e place, c'était l'Irlande, et en 3e, le Chili. 4e, c'est la Chine, et 5e, le Taipei chinois.
Exciting stuff here. Don't go anywhere. We're back with the under 23 lightweight men's double sculls.
Next, quite rightly, Andrea, it is the under-23 lightweight men's double sculls. Heat 1 lines up like this. It's France in lane 1, Hungary in lane 2, Hong Kong, China, lane 3. In lane 4, it's Austria, and lane 5, Guatemala.
Et voici la première de deux courses, la première élimination de deux courses. On a les hommes 2 de couple, poids léger, de moins 23 ans. Dans le couloir numéro 1, nous avons la France. Dans le couloir numéro 2, la Hongrie. Dans le couloir numéro 3, Hong Kong, Chine. Dans le couloir numéro 4, on a l'Autriche. Et dans le couloir numéro 5, on a le Guatemala.
So these crews now approaching the 1,200-meter mark. It's a little more spaced out than some of the racing we've seen. Having said that, little to separate the front 3 boats. Austria just leading the way ahead of France and then Hungary. And it's a quality French crew as well, I think we've got here, Andrea.
Quality everywhere you look here, Rob, with the best of the world coming to beautiful St. Catharines with fast conditions. Again, these lightweight combinations, these lightweight combinations have to use every ounce of technique they have in challenging conditions. They have no extra power like us lazy heavyweights do that we can throw around. They have to be smart and efficient. Anytime anyone asks me for good quality racing, Susan, I always direct them to lightweight rowing. Would you agree?
I agree. I know here in St. Catharines, the lightweight program has always been a really strong one, and we've enjoyed very, very many races here over the years with the lightweight crews.
Austria continuing to lead as 1 and 2 through to semifinal A, B. And France, despite a slower start, being third at the 500 meters, have pushed their way into first here. Austria now running second, Hungary running third. It will be those 3 boats that will try and challenge, although Hungary seems to be either shutting it down or really having issues in these technical conditions. As they come through, 1,600 meters now. So now this is where you need to focus in. Hard hat on, legs down together. You can see those knees going down right in time with each other. You're using the big muscles first, legs, then hips, then hands to finish it off. For those of you who haven't watched a lot of rowing, lots of people think our arms are the most powerful part. We only actually generate between 20 and 30% of our power with our arms. The rest of it is use those big muscles and look at the absolute intensity on the face of bow stroke France. Antoine Lefebvre, he will definitely be feeling that after this, but if he goes through first or second, he gets an extra race to rest, going straight to final A. Here they are in the red buoys, France running first now. They did an incredible push there right at the end, right in the 1,000 meter to get themselves into that spot. Running second is Austria, now a distance second. They will both qualify through to final A. France across the line, booking their ticket in tough conditions. Austria doing whatever they need to just get across the finish lines. And let's take a look back. It is now a race for lanes. This is where the athletes, even if they're not racing all out, they'll be practicing. What are we going to be thinking here? What are we going to be doing here? I had a coach once that said, train at X to race at X. So every race trip down the course, whether it's an all-out sprint or it's a paddle across, is done with intent. We'll wait for the results to come through just to be sure here, and then kick it over to Susan for the results in France, in French, but it was France first, Austria second, Hungary third, and Guatemala running fourth. That means that Hong Kong, China rounds us out in that 5th place position.
Merci, Andrea. Alors, voici les résultats maintenant pour les 2 de couple, poids léger, homme moins 23 ans. C'est l'éliminatoire numéro 1. Première, ça c'est la France. Deuxième, l'Autriche. Troisième, la Hongrie. Quatrième, le Guatemala. Et 5e, le Hong Kong.
Heat 2 of the lightweight men's double sculls. It's Canada in lane 1, Italy lane 2, Germany in 3, Ireland lane 4.
Dans l'élimination numéro 2, les hommes 2 de couple, poids léger, moins de 23, on a dans le couloir numéro 1 le Canada, dans le couloir numéro 2 l'Italie, dans le couloir numéro 3 l'Allemagne, dans le couloir numéro 4 l'Irlande.
They're approaching 1,400 meters, very little to separate the front 3 boats, and with the first 2 going through to the A final, I'm wondering, Andrea, if Canada might be one of those 2 boats.
Well, we could see the Maple Leafs on the previous shot there. They certainly, that would be the race plan. Plan A is to just get through in the top 2. Canada had a smoking start coming out first at the 500 meters, now slipping back to battling for second or third along with Ireland. We know the Irish combination as a country have a great sprint, but right now Italy is the one anchored at the front here as we come through to the 1,500 meters. This is where we've seen, technically it's very important, as my co-commentator Susan here said so well, sometimes changing conditions along the course will come through. I'm sure these athletes have raced here many times before, so they, the crew in Canada, so they do have, if they haven't themselves, at least coaches who will know this course very well. So you need to make sure that you're adaptable, and not just yourself, it's not just you in the boat, right, Susan? You're there with a teammate.
Exactly, and that communication is so important, and some combinations are magical. There's a chemistry that they understand each other so well.
Well, having raced the doubles myself for Canada for many years, I can attest there is a chemistry, because you don't have much more energy to say more than a grunt at a time, but you've been training for so long, you know exactly what that means. And right now, Italy is saying it is time to go. Canada slipping way back, unfortunately, into third position. They will decide to test their mettle in the repechage, but right now, coming to the line, it is less than a meter between Italy and Ireland. It is a race-off, a sprint-off here in the final few strokes on your fit. Italy has been rowed through. Here comes the Irish combination. It is going to be Ireland, the green of Ireland ahead of the blue of Italy. They did such a great job, a little handshake between the 2 Italian athletes. Well done them, rowed through at the line, but job done through the A final. Germany running third, Canada running fourth.
Et les résultats pour le 2 de couple poids léger, hommes moins 23 ans, c'est la deuxième éliminatoire. Premier, c'était l'Irlande, deuxième l'Italie. Ces 2 équipes vont au final A. Troisième, c'était l'Allemagne et 4e, le Canada. Ils ont une autre chance dans le repêchage.
Less than 2 seconds off of the World Championships best time. Blistering conditions continue next.
So Chad Bannister really doing some great work out there with the sounds here. Our DJ, thank you, Chad. Let's move on to the racing. It's a new boat class. It is the under-23 men's single sculls. 23 entries here, so this will be battled out over 4 heats. The lineup in Heat 1 sees Oscar Ruston of New Zealand in Lane 1, Mark Mwalo Kakoma of Zambia in Lane 2, Timo Stracker of Germany in 3, Breno Felix for Brazil in Lane 4. In Lane 5, representing Switzerland, Leonardo Salerno, and in Lane 6 for Hong Kong, China, Ho Ching Jack Mack.
La première éliminatoire de 4, on a les hommes skiff, moins de 23 ans. Dans le couloir numéro 1, nous avons la Nouvelle-Zélande. Dans le couloir numéro 2, la Zambia. Dans le couloir numéro 3, l'Allemagne. Dans le couloir numéro 4, le Brésil. Dans le couloir numéro 5, la Suisse. Et dans le couloir numéro 6, Hong Kong, Chine.
And we're seeing a very different complexion in this race from the lightweights that we've just seen, which have been very closely contested. Some gaps already opening up actually through 1,000 meters, but it's Stracker of Germany currently leading the way. Andrea.
Yes, it is the German flag well in the lead here. New Zealand's Oscar Ruston has done a little bit of work to get himself into 3rd place position, but as you so rightly said, only 1 through to semifinal AB as these carbon fiber shells slice their way towards us. A bit of a samurai sword of the boats, I think. 27 inches long. 27 feet long, 10 inches wide sometimes, and it is certainly, as you said, a very difficult boat to race. All your successes are your own, all your failures on your own. It is you versus yourself. What would you say to keep yourself going in a race like this, where you still have 600 meters left and your legs say, no, thank you?
It's a terrible feeling, but there's pride of country for getting to where you are to represent your nation, pride in yourself because you have your own personal goals as well, and all the traditions and your family cheering you on, I'm sure must really, really help. And sometimes you just do it.
Well said. Well, it continues to be Germany in the lead, but not unlike that hot sauce I had the other time, a slow burn here from New Zealand coming through right at the end. He has now launched himself into 2nd place position, about 22 meters behind the German athlete. Rounding out the field, of course, unmistakable Swiss cowbells will be ringing for Switzerland. They are currently running 4th as we come towards the closing stages here. This is where you just have to really remember to let loose is fast in the boat. You're especially in the lumpy water, you're going to want to grip on, you're going to want to tense, but that's not going to get the boat moving. Susan talked earlier about how there is the 4 phases of stroke: the catch, the drive, the finish, recovery. The boat moves the fastest when the blades are out of the water, so at the finish moving into the recovery. So that just shows that loose is fast. But the fastest of them all right now, Germany, right at the pointy end of this chevron. New Zealand has closed the gap by 5 meters. Fantastic run race there by Oscar Ruston. But now the question is, does he have what it takes to try and overhaul? Has the German gone out too fast? And look out to his left. He sees the Blackburn of New Zealand coming. Does New Zealand have what it takes? He's up at 32 strokes per minute. Germany at a cool 31, not looking too under pressure. Looks like New Zealand's Oscar Ruston will be happy to just get the best seated race as the German Timo Stracker throws his hands up in the air. Well done him. A race to the finish here between the 2 crews from Brazil. Yes, very close there. That's what we like. Athletes pushing each other right to the end, but it will be Germany that we see progress through to semifinal AB. So that is Germany running first, New Zealand running second. Brazil came in 3rd right at the line there, despite being really pushed the line by Switzerland. And we will wait for the results to come through, but it is in fact Zambia 5th and Hong Kong, China 6th.
Les résultats pour la première éliminatoire pour ski femmes moins 23 ans, c'était l'Allemand en première, deuxième la Nouvelle-Zélande, troisième le Brésil, quatrième la Suisse, cinquième la Zambie et Hong Kong en sixième. C'était l'Allemand qui a gagné le droit d'aller directement aux semi-finales A ou B.
On to Heat 2 of the under-23 men's single sculls. Mexico's Andre Emil Simps Flores is in lane 1. Alongside him in lane 2, Uruguay's Luciano Garcia. For Japan in lane 3, Taisei Miyaguchi. In lane 4 for Belgium, Aaron Andries. And in lane 5 for Chinese Taipei, Jichen Lin. And for Portugal in lane 6, Diogo Goncalves.
Voici la deuxième élimination de 4. Les hommes skiff de moins 23. On a dans le couloir numéro 1 le Mexique, dans le couloir numéro 2 l'Uruguay, dans le couloir numéro 3 le Japon, dans le couloir numéro 4 la Belgique, dans le couloir numéro 5 Taipei chinois, dans le couloir numéro 6 le Portugal.
Mexico, Uruguay and Belgium really tight up to the front end here through, 1,200, coming up to 1,400 metres, Andrea. Separate this little lot if you can.
Oh, well, I can't quite squint down, but my GPS is telling me that it continues to be, no, the GPS is not telling me anything, so instead Belgium is going to go first here. Mexico second. It was splitting back and forth between the two of them. Beautiful unisuit there by the Belgian athlete, as you can see him just cutting through the water. So this is definitely going to be a contrast as they come towards the final closing stages. From the quiet of the start, there is no crowds at the start. It is absolutely dead silent outside of the umpire, just you versus yourself and the calls of attention and go. And then as they come towards the finish line, they'll be cheered on by all of you, whether you're at Craig Swayze Memorial Grandstand or Rennie Park Spectator Viewing Grandstand, to cheer them on through the final few courses. Belgium continues to lead here, as has been the, Belgium now in the lead, pardon me. It was Mexico who held that position, pole position, for the first 1,000 meters. We often see big moves at the 1,000 meters. Belgium then launching themselves from third into first. Uruguay continuing to run second, but it will only be one crew through first. So if you are within striking distance of that first spot, Susan, you just really want to go for it, right?
I think so. Don't leave anything to fate.
Belgium made a move at 1,000 meters and it has served him well, continuing to open up his lead. Portugal now the boat running second to him. Portugal was fourth all the way through at the 1,500 meters, making his move. Only 9 meters separate them. A little bit of context here, those lanes are 44 feet wide. That's 13.5 meters. So you have to look over quite a way to see where your competition is. But from our view in the grandstand here, well, it continues to be Belgium by just a nose coming through. Close on his tail, Portugal only about 8 meters between the two. On your feet here, it is going to be a barn burner to the finish. Portugal, Belgium, Portugal, Belgium. It looks like it is Belgium through first. We'll wait on the finals. Here from the finishing tower, Uruguay, though, through third. Again, only one through to semifinal AB. My eyes did not fail me, Susan. It is, in fact, Belgium through first with less than a second through to Portugal.
Second. La Belgique est premier pour cette éliminatoire numéro 2 pour les skis femmes moins 23 ans.
Et puis suivi par le Portugal en troisième position, c'était l'Uruguay. Et nous attendons les résultats. Maintenant, c'est quatrième pour le Japon et cinquième pour le Mexique et sixième pour le tapis chinois. Alors, c'était seulement la Belgique qui peut avancer maintenant aux semi-finales.
So to the third and final heat, I beg your pardon, the third and penultimate heat of the under-23 men's single sculls. Lithuania's Donatas Riaba is in lane 1. James Fetter of the USA in lane 2. Alberto Chiavaro of Italy is in lane 3. In lane 4, representing the People's Republic of China, Lei Zhao. In lane 5 for Canada, Keithan Woodhouse. And lane 6, representing Ireland, Andrew Sheehan.
Voici la troisième élimination de 4 des hommes skiff de moins de 23 ans. Dans le couloir numéro 1, la Lituanie. Dans le couloir numéro 2, les États-Unis. Dans le couloir numéro 3, l'Italie. Dans le couloir numéro 4, la République populaire de Chine. Dans le couloir numéro 5, le Canada. Dans le couloir numéro 6, l'Irlande.
Now, I know I've mentioned these three striped flags a few times, but it's the tricolore of Italy that leads the way. A little bit down in the running order is Ireland's tricolour, Andrew Sheehan. And over in the main grandstand, we have a load of Irish flags. Let's see them, everybody. You've been giving your crews great support. Out come the Irish tricolours. Well done, you lot. He'll be in the lane closest to you in lane 6 when he comes through. Let's hand over to Andrea, see how he's doing.
Yes, well, Italy through first here as we are getting into 1,400 meters gone. Running second was China. We'll take a look at the finals here as they come through in the next meter mark, but maybe let's talk about how amazing it is that these athletes have the energy to sprint at the end. You have to use so much of your power. So rowing, you start with your aerobic, go into your anaerobic, back into your aerobic again. It's really unique in that sense. So these athletes have already sprinted and now are being asked to do again. You can see there on your screen, Italy, China, USA. Those are your top three first through. Well done to the USA. James Fetter, who was 5th off the block at the 500 meters mark, now running 4th at the 1,000, 3rd at the 1,500. Let's see if he can make it into the top 1 or 2 at the final, what he has left in the tank. A beautiful look there at just the pain that these athletes are putting themselves through, especially the Chinese athlete. If he can make it through to this top spot, he will earn himself a rest, not having to go through to the repechage. Italy here, we've seen some great sprints from these crews before, so we won't expect them to be spent in the final stages. These athletes are taking in, as a heavyweight man, 6.2 liters of oxygen per minute, and they certainly look like it as we saw the shots of the pain on the faces of the athletes. Italy, Alberto continues to lead here. He is down at a comfortable 32, looking very in control despite the lumpy water. He looking to his right under threat from China. Does China have what it takes to push back? USA running 3rd right now, but it is going to be Andiamo, Italy, to a comfortable 1st place position. China running 2nd, and USA will round us out in 3rd.
Merci beaucoup, Andrea. Les résultats pour le troisième éliminatoire pour les ski femmes moins 23 ans. En premier, c'était l'Italie. Alberto Chiviaro maintenant va aux semi-finales. Deuxième place, la Chine. Troisième, les États-Unis.
suivi par, on attend les résultats maintenant. Quatrième, la Lituanie. Cinquième, l'Irlande. Et sixième, le Canada. A-t-il?
So this is the final heat of the under-23 men's single sculls of the 4 heats then, with Latvia's Patrick Strats in lane 1. For Argentina in lane 2, Santiago de Andrea. In lane 3, representing France, Hugo Roch. In lane 4 for Tunisia, Fedi Ben Hamouda. And in lane 5, representing Sweden, Erik Kallström.
Voici la dernière élimination de cette série homme skiff de moins 23. Dans le couloir numéro 1, la Lettonie. Dans le couloir numéro 2, l'Argentine. Dans le couloir numéro 3, la France. Dans le couloir numéro 4, la Tunisie. Dans le couloir numéro 5, la Suède.
It's the Swede who seems to have the better of these crews at the moment, battling out with Hugo Roch of France, certainly at the 1,000-meter split. Just a couple of seconds, if that's separating the two of them. Remember, it's just first across the line who'll make it directly into that AB semi-final. Through about 1,300 meters now, can the French athlete overtake Kallström from Sweden?
Well, I'd say that there's a very good chance because there's plenty of runway left here. If you take a snapshot at the 500,000, 1,500, maybe even 10 strokes before the finish, it does not guarantee that that's how it's going to look when we get to the other side. Athletes will have planned pushes throughout their race. A race plan is kind of guided by either your capacity or maybe your nationality. We see some nationalities that really love to front end load their race, so they blast out strong, control the race from in front. Of course, rowing, the only sport that I can think of, Susan, with the privilege of being able to see who you're beating. Sweden continues to lead here. France right on their tail. He seems to be holding steady the distance, but the Swedish athlete just really chipping away at it. Tunisia breathing down France's neck as well. It's been that 1, 2, 3 all the way down. I talked briefly about the lanes being 44 feet wide. So that means from 1 lane to 6 lanes, you're looking across 264 feet. That's why these athletes are racing for those coveted center lanes. The single sculls that they have here are 9.5 feet long. They may look small from your view up in the grandstands or ours here in the finish tower, but if you ask one of your friends, families who are racing here to stand next to one of these sculls, I think you'll be impressed at how long they are, and they're using that as an extension of their arm, trying to place that blade as far back as they possibly can, and that's exactly what this Swedish athlete at the lead is doing right now. Tunisia now pushing through France. France fading into 3rd place, but it is Sweden all the way right now. The job is to bring your knees down quick and clean, chest up, eyes up. Make sure that you don't let any fatigue creep into your arms. You don't want to have any cramps here. No crabs being caught until you cross the finish line. It continues to be Sweden in the lead, coming to the finish line. They will be first across the bubble there. Indeed, they are. Tunisia has rode through the French athlete. Those are your 1, 2, 3s.
Voici les résultats pour la dernière éliminatoire pour les skiffs hommes moins 23 ans. Premier, c'est la Suède qui gagne le droit d'aller aux semi-finales. Deuxième, la Tunisie. Troisième, la France. We're awaiting our results for the official results for this race. A few little technical difficulties. Fourth place, quatrième place, je m'excuse, l'Argentine et cinquième, la Lettonie.
So a new boat class, 3 heats now of the under-23 women's singles sculls. We've got 16 crews competing here, and this is how they line up in lane 1 for Chinese Taipei, Fen Yupei. In lane 2 for USA, it's Cillian Mullen. In lane 3, Greece, Evangelia Fragku. In lane 4, Finland, Maihu Kain Lauri. In lane 5, Austria, Emma Guccia. And in lane 6, representing Estonia, Ariana Townsend.
Voici la prochaine course, Femme Kiaf 23, la première élimination. On a dans le couloir numéro 1, Taipei chinois. Dans le couloir numéro 2, les États-Unis. Dans le couloir numéro 3, la Grèce. Dans le couloir numéro 4, la Finlande. Dans le couloir numéro 5, l'Autriche. Dans le couloir numéro 6, l'El Salvador.
So first 2 across the line, direct progression for them through to the AB semi-final with about 500 meters to go. It's looking like Greece and Austria have those positions possibly sewn up, Andrea.
That's what it looks like from here, but of course, anyone's game in the closing stages of the race. 1,500 meters, right you are. Greece continues to lead. Austria right there with her. At the very beginning of the race, we saw a great clip from the starting gate of the boats launching out of their starting blocks. A big thank you if you are one of the over 1,000 people who signed up to volunteer at this World Rowing Championships. And some of those volunteers were there laying on the pontoons, holding on to the sterns of the boats so that they can be nice and straight as they blast out of the starting blocks. But blasting out at the lead of this continues to be the Greek athlete. Austria and USA running second and third here. The USA athlete was fourth at the 500-meter mark and now into third position, but only 1 and 2 will go through to the semifinal AB, remaining crews to the repechage. Athletes will also have to perhaps weigh their boats as we continue our fun facts about Rowing 101, and if your boat is underweight, you risk a disqualification. So these athletes have boat weighing stations around the course. They'll be able to take their shells down there and make sure that it is the minimum weight that they need. But no minimum weight needed for these athletes as they are in the heavyweight category. It continues to be Greece in the lead here as we come down to the grandstands. They'll feed off the noise of the crowd. Austria running second. USA, I think, has left too much work left to do. They're coming towards the finish here. squaring those blades up and placing them as close as they possibly can to the bow of the boat so that you get as much distance per stroke as possible. And the Greek athlete looks dominant here as she comes across, as she would. She is an experienced name on the field. So that will be Greece, and going with her will be Austria out of lane 5, who comes through to the semifinal A-B.
Alors, félicitations pour la Grèce qui ont gagné cette éliminatoire, la première éliminatoire pour les ski femmes moins 23 ans. Et aussi à l'Autriche qui va aussi aux semi-finales. La troisième, c'était les États-Unis et nous attendions maintenant les résultats pour le restant des participants. Quatrième, c'est le tapis chinois. Cinquième, la Finlande. Et sixième, le Salvador.
On to heat 2 of 3 of the under-23 women's single sculls. South Africa's Courtney Westley takes up lane 1 alongside Nicole Martinez of Paraguay in lane 2. Another Nicole, but Molly Nicole of New Zealand in lane 3. Alexandra Förster of Germany in lane 4. Aurelia Maxima Katharina Janssen of Switzerland in lane 5.
La deuxième élimination de 3, on a les femmes skiff, moins de 23. Dans le couloir numéro 1, on a l'Afrique du Sud. Dans le couloir numéro 2, Paraguay. Dans le couloir numéro 3, la Nouvelle-Zélande. Dans le couloir numéro 4, l'Allemagne. Dans le couloir numéro 5, la Suisse.
A couple of very familiar names in this lineup. Andrea Förster of Germany, Janssen of Switzerland. I think this is where the battle could be for first and second.
Yes, I just enjoyed watching these two phenomenal athletes duke it out on the world stage in Paris. Well, barely a breath, and they're back onto the water again here, going stroke for stroke as they've been trading the leading positions right now with Alexandra Förster from Germany running first. What I loved most about her race, Susan, was that she had a big smile at the beginning and the ends of both of her races. Do you think we're going to see a smile on her face at the end of this one?
Not with these conditions, I don't think. Nice flat water, maybe.
I love racing in technically challenging conditions like these, because not only is there an opportunity for fast times, and we've seen some best times already fall, but it also means that you don't have to be stronger than everyone else. You just have to be more technically proficient. You have to be a little bit smarter about how you conserve your energy and how you go about the race.
I love rowing because of the technicalities. I think when people see people row, they have no idea the multi things to think about and do and to train for. It's a fascinating scientific sport.
Right you are, and if I can tell a very brief story here before we get into the red buoys, I once asked Julien Behane, a famous French and Canadian rower whose wife is actually coaching the Canadian team, once if he could tell me how to rig a boat, and 3 hours later he was still explaining it to me, all the different ways you can organize it. So let's take a look here. Well, it continues to be Alexandra Förster running first, but again, 1 and 2 through to semifinal A, B. No surprise that it is a Swiss athlete, Aurelia Maxima Katharina Janssen, running second. Republic of South Africa, and just a little bit too far off. I imagine this would be an exciting lineup, though, to see when these athletes look at the draws and see who they're lined up against, to be able to start next to an Olympic athlete, a freshly minted Olympic athlete. Must be an incredible honor. We're coming into the closing stages here and in the grandstands. Please cheer them in. You get to see Olympic caliber racing right here at home in Canada. It continues to be Germany in the lead here. The Swiss athlete right on her tail, both just tacking it in at about 31 strokes per minute. Germany up now at a 37. She found another gear. Alexandra Förster will claim the first place pole position. And it will be the Swiss cowbells ringing Aurelia Maxima Katharina Janssen into second.
Alors, félicitations à Alexandra Forster de l'Allemagne qui a gagné cette deuxième éliminatoire pour les skieurs femmes à moins 23 ans. Et aussi à Katharina Aurelia Maxima de la Suisse qui va aussi avec Alexandra aux demi-finales. Nous attendons maintenant, oh non, excusez-moi, en troisième place, nous avons l'Afrique du Sud, quatrième, le Paraguay, et cinquième, la Nouvelle-Zélande.
And ladies and gentlemen of the grandstands, on your feet, and one more cheer here for Alexandra Förster. Whether she knows it or not, she has set a new World Championships best time. She'll be wondering what that was for, and I can't wait for her to find out when she gets off the water. Previous time was 7:24.89. This was 7:19.52. Olympic caliber racing.
Interesting. Aurelia Maxima Janssen even beat the original world best time as well. So, I mean, there's real class in there. So to the third and final heat of the under-23 women's single sculls. In lane 1, representing France, is Milia Massima. In lane 2, representing Belgium, Mazarine Guibert. In lane 3, representing Latvia, Elina Rumpa. In lane 4 for Poland, Victoria Kalinowska. And in lane 5, representing the People's Republic of China, Huan Wang.
Et voici la dernière élimination de cette catégorie femmes Kiev. Moins 23, dans le couloir numéro 1, la France, dans le couloir numéro 2, la Belgique, dans le couloir numéro 3, la Lettonie, dans le couloir numéro 4, la Pologne, dans le couloir numéro 5, la République populaire de Chine.
Well, it's the French athlete Massima who is leading the way now, coming down to 1,500 meters. But the Belgian athlete Guibert very much up there with her, and then a bit of a split further back to the chasing pack.
Right, you are, Rob. It is 1 and 2, fairly comfortably anchored at the front, but still, let's celebrate all of these women here. I mean, a little bit of history. Women weren't even introduced to Olympics until 1976 in Montreal. That was only over 1,000 meters. In 1988, we were able to race 2 kilometers. That was well after fellow athletes in canoe cycling and athletics. And only 5 decades after this debut, gender equity was achieved, Susan, in Tokyo.
I never thought I would see that. When I was in high school and the beginning part of my university, women were not even allowed to row. And here I am now, not that age, but very, very excited to see that equity in rowing and that women rowers give just such exciting races for us all around the world. And congratulations to those who started it all. And that took a lot of bravery and to change the patterns and mindsets of people over the decades.
Yes, and I know athletes and myself, we stand on the shoulders of the greats who came before them, many of whom cut their teeth on the waters that we are right now. Let's check back in, though, with the phenomenal women on the course, and it continues to be France, but just by a whisker, although just is sometimes more than enough. Belgium, barely bow ball to bow ball next to them, and here come the red buoys. And every athlete knows red means dead. Time to go, time to wind it up. Now 1 and 2 through to semifinal A-B. Why are they racing? Well, a little bit of privilege for they're wearing their country's flag on their backs, and a little bit for you there in the grandstand. So on your feet, let's cheer them across. Barely anything between them here as we squint from the finish tower. France and Belgium neck and neck Will it be which of these tricolored flags will come across the line first? It is. Looks to my old eyes like France. So big cheer, and I'll cue my co-commentator.
Allons-y, bleu! Félicitations, bleu!
It is, in fact, France. 0.37 seconds back to Belgium. What a race. Those two will go through to semifinal A, B, and we will see the rest in the repêchage.
Félicitations pour la France qui était la première, et puis après ça, la Belge deuxième. Les deux vont aux demi-finales. En troisième, c'est la Pologne. Quatrième, la Chine. Et cinquième, le Lettonie.
We now move on to the really big boats. It's the under-23 women's 8. 7 crews contesting this class, so we're across 2 heats. 4 boats in the first heat, 3 in the second. And this is the lineup for Heat 1. Australia in lane 1, Italy in lane 2, the defending champions, the USA, in lane 3, Canada, who took bronze last year, in lane 4.
Nous voici dans la course éliminatoire femmes 2 de pointe, moins 23. Dans le couloir numéro 1, l'Australie. Dans le couloir numéro 2, l'Italie. Dans le couloir numéro 3, les États-Unis. Dans le couloir numéro 4, le Canada.
Well, despite the pedigree on show here, it's Australia who lead the way from the USA by the narrowest of margins. Italy alongside, it's Canada bringing up the rear. Is this going to change much over the closing stages, do you think, Andrea?
For sure. So at the 1,000 meters is always where we see moves being made. This is a boat race where typically there's a ton of overlap as we look at this beautiful side-by-side shot with the maple leaves well on display here, currently running 5th. USA and Australia, you can see it right there on your screen, nothing between them. So unlike in smaller boats where you have a bow person or someone else taking a look out of the boat, these athletes get a little tag-along called a coxswain. So that's a person facing the correct way. And they have the Britney Spears microphone. They're talking to their teammates, telling them, go faster, go harder, but also, and most importantly, steering the boat in a straight line. There's a ton of power on port and on starboard, and they are a key anchor point. They are the beating heart of the boat. So although called the Women's 8, there are 9 people who are working as one single unit to get across the line here. So the coxswains will be looking out to either side. They'll be calling for some pushes. We're coming now to 500 meters. USA managing to make the right call to just eke out a couple of boat seats, about 3 or 4 boat seats perhaps. Although these angles can be deceiving, this is going to be a quick finish with those two going toe-to-toe, only one through to the final. And there is nothing quite like the noise, the sound, and the fury of an 8s race. You can see the coxswain from Australia. That's Annabelle Eaton. Pardon me, Summer Collette. I just put the coach in the cox seat for a second there. Calling to her teammates, looking to the left and right, hunched down, trying to be as aerodynamic as possible, letting the reins out on her stable as they come into the red buoys. Continues now to be USA in the lead here. Australia being barely pushed back. They've made a move back on our GPS. There's nothing between Australia and USA. You're going to want to stand up and take a look at this one. That's what I'm doing in the finish tower anyways. Stroke for stroke, USA and Australia coming down to the line. Only one of them are going to get through to the final. USA with a nose. Australia one seat down, but just a couple strokes as we come towards the finish line. Sound and fury. USA perhaps in the lead. Is it Australia? Will it be green and gold? Oh, too close to tell. It is going to be a photo finish. A PF, which also stands for pretty fast. Keep your eyes on the screen here. We'll tell you the latest as soon as we know it. Maybe some of you in the grandstands have an idea, but it is USA through first. Great race by the green and gold of Australia to push them all the way. Look at that. Well, I have a couple questions about zero, supposedly not between them, but we'll just take a look and see if that is correct. Our GPS tells us that there is nothing separating those two boats to the 100th of a second, but we will let people saner heads than ours tell us how that's going to shake out with only one going through to final A.
Nous attendons les résultats parce que c'est presque impossible de déterminer qui a gagné cette course. On pense que c'était les États-Unis, mais ce n'est pas officiel.
Well, we may have to wait to find out which of those crews will be going through to the final, with some A final racing on day one here at St. Catharines. The two crews going down to the 100th of a second together. I should mention that time of 6:01.73, just barely off the world's best of 6:13. So fast racing, fast conditions, and it's just day one. Wow, I'm going to, don't need my morning coffee after this, Susan.
I think these girls are going to need one.
All right, we'll see you because the action continues next with more women's 8 still to come.
Yeah, and here is the lineup then for this second heat of the women's 8. Just 3 boats contesting this one. It's Romania in lane 1, Great Britain in lane 2, Germany, silver medalists last time out, are in lane 3.
Voici la deuxième élimination pour les femmes 8 de pointe, moins 23 ans. Couloir numéro 1, la Roumanie. Couloir numéro 2, la Grande-Bretagne. Couloir numéro 3, l'Allemagne.
Well, through 1,000 meters, Great Britain had opened up a little bit of a gap ahead of Germany by just a couple of seconds. Romania still very much in the mix as well. Remember, it's just that first boat that'll make it through to the A final. Is this going to be as close as the previous race, I wonder, Andrew?
Well, I don't know if my heart can take much more of this, but that's what we came here to see, some world championships, world's best racing. And who said the Olympics were over? It continues to be GB in the lead here. Germany, Romania on either side. Think about all those legs down, 16 legs down together, 9 hearts as one, all of those handles being accelerated at the same time. GB at 35 strokes per minute, underrating Germany. That tells me that they're getting a lot of length for the speed that they have, that they've tapped it into a rhythm that works very well for them. Let's tell them a little bit, Susan, about the boat. So the stern pair, so those are the 2 women who are staring the coxswains in the eyes. Those are the stroke seats. They're setting the rhythm. They're the metronome of the boat.
And they are the captains of the boat. Well, not the captains of the coxies, but you're watching their oars big time.
Yes.
They're the leaders of the boat.
Absolutely. So stroke and port are both following those 2 women. And the next 4, well, that's the engine room. This was my seat. You are a hammer. Everything is a nail. And in the bow, well, we have the bow pair.
That's right. That's right. And obviously 8 people acting as one, though, despite their various roles.
Yes, in various heights and weights, various lengths that you can do. The bow pair have to be the most technically proficient, so the bow actually sits up slightly higher out of the boat than the rest of the boat, so they have to help to balance and set the boat. So that's also another great and skillful role. So lots of different personalities that you'll put into this, although from the outside, as you say, Susan, they're just looking like one singular unit. Great shot there at the back of the unisuits as we come into the red buoys here for another exciting race, but it is all Team GB. Again, another crew that only puts the Union Jacks on their blades for very special occasions, and they have them out today. GB continues to lead, but not without pressure. Romania up at 41 strokes per minute. We come to expect lots of great sprints from that Romanian crew, but GB across the line first. And then it will be Germany running second, Romania running third, but we will only see GB in the final. The rest of the crews, well, you get another chance to see them in the repêchage. We'll give you a second to catch your breath here while Susan tells you the results in French.
Alors, les résultats pour le deuxième éliminatoire, femmes 8-23 ans. Premier, c'était la Grande-Bretagne dans le couloir 2. Deuxième, l'Allemagne et troisième, la Roumanie. La Grande-Bretagne avance au final et les autres deux équipes vont au repêchage.
Australia, Great Britain, Canada, Germany, Romania, USA. Attention.
So to the final race of the day, and it's a preliminary race, or a race for lanes in the under-23 men's 8. This is how they line up. Australia in lane 1, Great Britain in lane 2, Canada in lane 3, in lane 4 Germany, lane 5 Romania, lane 6 the USA.
Voici la dernière course de la journée. C'est une course préliminatoire. C'est les hommes 8 de pointe de moins 23 ans. Dans le couloir numéro 1, on a l'Australie. Dans le couloir numéro 2, la Grande-Bretagne. Dans le couloir numéro 3, le Canada. Dans le couloir numéro 4, l'Allemagne. Dans le couloir numéro 5, la Roumanie. Dans le couloir numéro 6, les États-Unis.
So there's no progression as such, because these are the entirety of the crews here. 6 crews, so 6 crews will contest the final. In fact, they will close the under-23 program when they race for the medals here on Friday afternoon. The picture here through 1,000 meters saw Australia and the USA side by side. Canada very much up alongside them, with Germany as well, then Great Britain and Romania some way off the pace. But the leaders coming down through 1,400 meters, well, it's almost anybody's guess, Andrea.
Really exciting racing, and what other way would we want to close out a great day with World Championships time falling left and right. You're right, USA and Australia, nothing really between them aside from a seat. Australia running second. Canada was in a firm third position, but GB has just turned on the afterburners and are now powered into that third place position. This is where the coxswains really do make the difference. This is possibly, difficult conditions. This is kind of like conditions that you need to surf, things that you really need to be very unified on. You need to get all those blades in together, and of course the coxswain has the best view of that, so he'll be calling whether or not someone's late on the timing, if you need more power on one side or the other, and how to make sure that those boats move together, and moving together they are. Take a look at that. So many bodies as they're coming now here towards the Rennie Park spectator viewing grandstand. But if you're in the Quake Swayze Memorial Grandstand, let's hear you too. Final 250 meters, and it is USA in the lead. GB now with a massive push and closing. Where did they come from? 5th at the 1,000-meter. 2nd right now, Australia falling back. With Canada along with them. USA, can they hold on to their lead here? GB is charging. They are putting in the gears. This is not for all the marbles, but this is for prestige. This is a warning shot across the other team's bow. Take a look at that bubble line. Who is it going to be? It is USA, but GB with a massive push to them into 2nd place. Australia in the green and gold. 3rd, Canada. 4th, and Germany running 5th as we cheer Romania across the line.
Alors, nous avons les résultats pour les préliminaires pour les 8 hommes moins 23 ans. Ça, c'est pour les positions, leur position pour le final, les voix dans le final. En premier, c'était les États-Unis. Et en 2e, la Grande-Bretagne. 3e, l'Australie. 4e, le Canada. 5e, l'Allemagne. Et 6e, la Roumanie.
And that was fast conditions there with those times only a 1/10 of a second off of the World Championships best time. And just an update for those of you in the grandstand and that photo finish of the women's 8 Heat 1, we do have a result. It will be USA through to the A final. Rob, exciting racing, fast conditions. How are we supposed to sleep after this? This is just day 1.
It's going to take a while to come down from this, Andrew. You're quite right. It's been emotional. It's been quite hot. But it's been very fast because that tailwind has really set up some fabulous times here today. What a way to start these championships. Fabulous conditions, really top quality racing. Our thanks goes to all the athletes who've competed here today, and also to all the volunteers and officials. Without these volunteers here, really setting up these kind of events would just not be possible. So they deserve a huge round of applause, some 1,000 or so of them here over the week. So our thanks to everyone involved. Also, my personal thanks. I'm Rob Curling, by the way, just bit of self-publicity. I'd like to thank Andrea Proska and to Thibaudot for their excellent commentary, and to Tim Van Vliet and Francine Legoeuf, who we heard from this morning. Mike Thibaudot alongside me in the tower, giving the French translation as well. Particular thanks out there on the course, or just to one side of it, I hope, otherwise things will be very wet. DJ Chad Bannister, who's been playing the music today and will be with us all week. Now, just looking ahead to tomorrow, we get underway again at 9:30 in the morning as more heats here in the under-23s, and we're actually going to kick off with the women's coxed fours. We don't see those coxed boats so often these days. So that will get underway 9:30 tomorrow morning. Racing goes on until a similar time to today, just gone 4 o'clock, with the repechage from that women's 8. So that just about wraps it up from us here. Thanks to everybody in the crowd for coming as well. Give yourselves a big cheer, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Merci aux équipes, aux directeurs, aux participants et bénévoles qui sont venus des 4 coins du monde pour être venus ici voir notre programme aujourd'hui. Je voudrais aussi prendre le temps pour remercier notre équipe d'annonceurs. Une fois de plus, Rob Curling à ma gauche, Andrea Prosky à ma droite, Sue Thibaudot, ma femme. Merci à vous. Vous avez été très, très appréciés. On voudrait aussi remercier notre DJ, M. Chad Bannister, pour la belle musique qu'il nous a offert. Et on voudrait aussi vous laisser savoir que demain, on recommence à 9h30 avec l'élimination des moins de 23. Donc, une fois de plus, on remercie tout le monde. À bientôt, à demain.
Adulthood is full of surprises, maybe too full of surprises. That's why CAA Niagara has reliable insurance plans. Be ready for the unexpected expenses with home, auto, life, travel, and pet insurance plans. Plus, CAA members get exclusive pricing on all of our plans. Because adulting is hard, but CAA Niagara makes it easy. Click today for your free online quote.
At Genesis Niagara, the most important feature in every Genesis is you. Designed with the simple idea that the experience of owning your Genesis should be as exceptional as the vehicle itself. It's about valuing your time, respecting your lifestyle, and making things effortless, and building a relationship based on trust. Genesis Niagara serving Hamilton, Niagara, where you are at the center of everything we do.
Team Canada and Pilataria Estates Winery unite with a perfect pairing of tradition and excellence. Deeply rooted in pride, respect, and the pursuit of greatness. Celebrate the Olympic spirit with every toast.
When you're purchasing swimwear from the Salty Bikini, you're getting beauty, confidence, and the latest in swimwear fashion. Every woman deserves to feel like a goddess in her swimsuit. Say goodbye to stress and hello to confidence as you shop with us. The Salty Bikini is proud to be a platinum sponsor of the 2024 World Rowing Championships. Good luck to all the competitors. Come see us in-store at the Salty Bikini. We're located in the Ridley Heights Plaza in St Catharines, Ontario. Or visit us online at thesaltybikini.ca.
Welcome to White Meadows Farms. Join our Discover Maple Sugar Bush tour and explore the world of maple syrup. Meet our expert guide and discover traditions that have thrived for centuries. Hop aboard a tractor-drawn wagon and journey to the heart of our forest. Indulge in legendary treats like taffy on snow and experience our 100% pure maple syrup. Finish with a maple syrup tasting and see how we elevate maple beyond the breakfast table. Book your experience today and discover everything Canadian maple.
The universe does it with a big bang. Wonderful pistachios. Get cracking.
The fruit of our labor has been feeding families for generations. Support local. Look for the Foodland Ontario logo in stores and put Ontario-grown fruit in your basket all summer long.
Oh.